Hello. In this episode, we are continuing the Money May theme. In the latest two episodes, we discussed first ways that we block ourselves from making and earning and flowing in more money. And then in the last episode, we talked about how to effectively work through those blocks so that we can leave them gone once and for all. And today we are discussing how to create more portals of money and how to do so strategically to not only hit your money goals, but to blow them out of the mother effing water. Okay, let's go. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I'm so happy you are here. It has been an interesting week. I decided that it would be a really cool idea to start 3 brand new programs, not only in the same week, but on the same day. So I was out of town last week. As I record this, I was out of town for half of last week because I was in Puerto Rico. So I took obviously some time off work, and then I was ready to start these 3 really killer new programs in my world. I started a new accelerator mastermind and 20K per month boot camp and Money May members only experience. And they all started on May 6th, which as I record this was just a few days ago. And while this week has been a blast because the women in these spaces are next level, I can't even believe that I get to work with the women that I do. It still was like, wow, that was really, really ambitious. So why I'm telling you this is, number one, maybe consider if you're going to host certain offers at the same time, which is so doable, by the way, maybe consider opening them on different days. I think that would be helpful. I think that's how I'm going to do it in the future. I'm going to have a rule, no more than 2 program starts on the same day. But the other reason why I'm telling you that is because I'm feeling the itch to do a free webinar. And I've learned to trust this itch. I've learned to wait until I feel this itch to do free webinars. I'm a big fan of doing paid webinars because typically if you pay to be in a webinar, you're more likely to show up, more likely to actually do the work. And the whole reason why I'm doing the webinar is not for me and my health. It's to serve you. Now, of course, I make money from the webinar too, obviously if I'm charging, but then also I always offer a way to continue with me after. So I'm not saying this is a completely selfless act. I'm a business here. But again, like I would much rather charge for something if I knew that you are more willing to show up and take it seriously, which I've tend to find true when I compare free webinars versus pay. But sometimes it's just good to do a really good free one. And the benefit of that is obviously you get to come into my world. If this is the first time you've ever taken any of my classes, you get to come free, obviously, and feel it out and pay me with time, which I would argue is more important. But monetarily, it is free. So that's cool. And I get to blow your mind for free and hopefully get to keep you in my world in other ways if you need support in other areas. I'm going to do a free webinar. I'm thinking it's going to be 2 days. The reason why I'm not telling you exactly what it is because it's been a little bit more hectic and busy of a week. And I really haven't had a chance to map out exactly what I want to do yet. I have some really good ideas, but that's literally what I'm doing after this, but I needed to record this first for some time constraints. All of that said, by the time you are listening to this, the masterclass will be decided and it's going to be linked in the show notes. If you are craving a really juicy multi-day masterclass. And I also have decided I'm going to do more coaching around this too. And I've got to figure out the details of that because I thrive coaching. And obviously, that's a great way for you to come and get support in your business. So all of this is going to be outlined and put in the show notes. You'll see, obviously, the title and all the marketing and all of that will be sorted by the time you hear this. But there's a reason why I can't be like, come to the blah, blah, blah masterclass, because I don't know what the masterclass is going to be titled just yet. But I will tell you, don't judge it because it's free. Because I used to do that. I used to be like, I don't want to go to a free masterclass. Free masterclasses can be watered down. They're going to try and sell to me at the end, blah, blah, blah. I am going to sell to you at the end, and you're going to want to be sold to at the end. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. But if you've ever come to any of my masterclasses or any of my classes at all, I treat it like it's a multi-$1,000 vibe. I don't fool around. I don't waste our time. Okay. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And we're going to make some moves together. So go look at the link in the show notes, and I would love to see you there. It's going to be sometime this month, probably over the next 2 weeks. Okay. Amazing. Also, side note, this is your sign. If you need to be more flowy in your business, you get to do this too. I was sitting here trying to rush the details and trying to decide the details before recording. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I can hint at it and put the link, and it'll be fine. We make it up as we go. Anyway, now the reason why you're all here is to discuss money portals. Very appropriate for Money May. If we want to call in more money, it really helps to create more money portals. What are money portals? Money portals are ways that money can flow into your world. So obviously, if you have a job, that's a money portal. If you have a business, you tend to have multiple ways that money can flow into your world. This is probably one of the bigger benefits of having at least an online business in the way that I do, which is where I can create my own offers. So I have multiple money portals and ways that money can and does flow into my world every single day. Why this is important is when it comes to attracting money, your mind has to be right? Like you have to, one, believe that you are worthy of the money that you want to attract and that you will attract. But you also have to believe that it's coming, right? There's got to be a belief that you've put the order in and it's on its way to you. And it's not that you have to have a ton of money portals to call in large amounts of money or the amount of money that you want to call in. You could win the lottery. You could get an inheritance. You hear these stories of people receiving money in the mail, which I totally used to doubt, by the way, until when we were going through all of our tax stuff and I got a letter in the mail about my late grandfather's estate, and the amount of money that he had left to me was literally the exact money that we needed for the taxes at the time. Like it was the literal same day that we saw the tax guy. This happened. I've shared this in a later episode. It was wild. Okay. So I can testify these things really do happen. So magic money is a thing. Absolutely. And let's hold faith for magic money. Let's just hold faith. Let's just create a belief around money. And we'll talk more about this in another episode. But hold a belief that money, I think one of my favorite money affirmations is money flows to me always, always. Money flows to me always, always. So yes, of course, through my business. Yes, of course, through your job. Yes, of course, through your partner, through the obvious ways that we intend and that we expect money to flow, it flows. And we're open to the magic too. We're open to the estates and the lottery wins and the lucky money and the random person who we smiled at in a grocery store who wanted to leave half of their estate to us. Like you hear stuff like that all the time. Let's be open to it. And I found, at least for me as a self-made woman, that I also want my own money, right? I have an amount of pride in the money that I make. And if I could pick my way, not that I'm going to ever discriminate against money flowing into my world, but if I had my choice, which I do believe we do have a choice, I want to make it, right? I want it to be because I created something incredible, because I was able to serve women at an extraordinary level that it earns me extraordinary levels of money. So that's where we get to really play with money portals. And for our purposes today, we're going to talk about this, of course, through the lens of online business, because I know that that's most of you here. You either have an online business, or you will have an online business, or you want to have an online business. So I'm not going to talk about this. I mean, I already kind of alluded to if you have a job or whatever. And if you have like a physical business, of course, you have offers as well, and there's multiple portals. But just to keep it simple, I'm going to speak about this through the lens of online business, pretty much mostly through the lens of a service-based business like my own. But I want you to listen, because a lot of these things can be applied to yours. And if you ever have any questions in regards to how it can be applied to yours, try shooting me a DM. Sometimes it takes me a while to get back to them, or come to the masterclass, because we're going to be doing some coaching there, like I said. Okay. So when it comes to our online business, or any businesses at all, there are different levels and types of money portals. So obviously we have our offers. This is the most obvious money portal. Okay, these are the things that we're launching and that we're marketing and selling into the world pretty consistently. Some of us here monetize our content. So maybe you have a podcast like me. Maybe you earn commissions on TikTok or on Instagram. Maybe you have some sort of subscription service like Substack, or hell, OnlyFans, or sort of blog even that's earning commissions. Maybe you're an influencer and you work with To Know It, and you work with commissions or brand deals. I would say like brand deals would also be a separate money portal as well. That's another form of monetized content. And then of course, there's the things outside of your business that are also portals of money, like investment accounts, retirements, those sort of things. Even though money doesn't, like, you kind of put money there, it's not necessarily a portal that money flows to, but money does compound there. So it's certainly a portal for money for sure. Now, the more money portals that we have, the more opportunities that we have for money to flow in. It kind of makes sense, right? And this really does serve us, because again, if our belief is at a 10, when it comes to the amount of money that can flow into our world, we're automatically a match for more money. So it's not that you have to have a business that creates their own offers, obviously, or that has multiple portals of money. Like, I'm about to share mine with you and you're gonna be like, holy crap, there's a lot of them. So obviously this isn't the only way to do this. And it's not that this is quote unquote the right way to do it, but it's kind of, again, it's one of those things that for me, it just builds belief. It builds belief in my ability to stack more cash, because there are so many different ways that it can flow in. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket where I only have one offer, right? And it's very, it's either like super low ticket, so it takes a huge volume of people to get to the level that I want, or it's super high ticket, so there's less people required, but also a higher maybe caliber of client. I've got offers across the freaking board. So for me, this is my preferred way when it comes to attracting money within my business. I really like having offers across the board. So the way that I think about this is, I want you to think about your business, right? You have your business, and I want you to think about, like, you're a fisherman. Okay. Just bear with me. You're a fisherman, and your audience, the people who are in your world, who are watching you, who are listening to your podcast, whatever, think of them like fish. Okay. And some of them are hungry, some not. Some of them want some type of food. Some of them want other types of food. Everybody wants a different thing. Food would be like the thing that you have for them. Okay. So you're fishing essentially for clients here. Or if you want to think about this through the lens of attracting, you have bait and they want the bait and they'll come to you. Okay. Doesn't matter how you look at it, but essentially your job is to catch fish as a business. That's how you stay in business. But again, all the fish want different things, and they want different levels of different things. So if you only have one option for them, one type of bait for them, you're going to catch some for sure, but you're leaving a lot more out there who are hungry, who don't necessarily want that thing. And then if you have two different things to offer them, you're serving a few more people, you're feeding a few more people. But again, there's still a lot of fish that they're hungry. They're hungry fishies, but what you're throwing out there, they're not really into. So the reason why I personally like many more money portals, many different offers and ways to work with me in my business is because this widens my net. This makes it, and I can honestly say this, that no matter what type of support you need in your business or price point or level of hand-holding, level of support, I've got it for you. Like straight up. I have so many different ways to serve you. And all this is, it just widens my net. So somebody could come to me at any time, or somebody could go to my stand store or my website at any time, and they would likely find something within their budget, within, again, their level of desire for support through the lens of what they're likely looking for, the subject matter that they're looking for support on. They'll likely find something in my world, obviously related to the type of offers that I support with, like related to online business and creating money and creating a business of your wildest dreams. And that covers a lot of land. And I've got the offers to help cover the land. So to give an idea of what I mean by, I have a lot of different offers, and I share this as a way, again, not to have you compare your stuff to mine, because I've been doing this a really long time. So some people hear this and they get a little overwhelmed. As a matter of fact, I was doing one of my calls this week with one of my new groups. And one of the women in the groups, she was like, how do you do it? How, like, you just started 3 brand new groups this week, in addition to running your membership, in addition to running your mastermind and showing up online and doing a podcast. Like I have got a lot of balls in the air, basically. And she was like, I genuinely cannot wrap my head around how I can do that. There's part of me that wants to, but when I think about it, it overwhelms me. And what I told her was, if I, like, the me last year, like me just a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, if I had seen what I'm doing right now, I would have probably been overwhelmed. So what I'm saying is, there are levels to this. You grow to this. I've been doing this a really long time. I know how to run multiple things at once. I know how to balance my schedule. I know how many calls to book in one day and how many not to book in one day. I know how to, I just know how to hold it, right? But that takes some time to get to. So again, I share this more so to simply give you an idea of what it could look like. Because also, when I share this, of course, there are people who are like, wow, that feels overwhelming. But then there are also people who hear this and they're like, wow, I didn't even realize that I could do all that. I thought I had to just do a 3-tiered offer suite, or I had to keep it really simple, or I had to stick to just high ticket things or low ticket things or whatever. I didn't even realize I could have 2 memberships. And it's, yeah, you can do whatever you want, but you want to make sure that it's right for you. Okay. So what my money portals look like, which are my offers, And the way that I think about this and the way that I teach this now, I coined this in my 10K Gateway Masterclass, is I run something called a base bonus model, which is I have my base offers that are always there. They're always running. They're long-term commitments. So people are flowing in and out of them all the time. So I have my base offers. And what those offers are, starting at the top, meaning highest level of support and highest investment, would be my rare private coaching, but I currently don't have any private clients right now. I only do about one at a time. So private would be up there. And then I have rare mastermind. It's a year-long container, but again, people can flow in at any time. So that's my very top. And then I have my all-in, the membership, which is all of my offers and then 2 coaching calls a month for a year. And then I have, I guess LFG would be next in terms of, yeah. And then I have my LFG membership, which is a lot of different offers that you get automatically. And then you get whatever I launch within LFG each month, which is usually 1 to 2 new things every single month. That's $99, cancel anytime. So those are I'm trying to think, gosh, that doesn't sound, I feel like I'm missing something, but I think that's it. Okay. So yeah, those are my base offers. Yeah. Those are my base offers. Okay. Which is plenty. I'm just like, I felt like there was something else, but maybe not. Okay. So those are my base. They're always there. So if you were to come into my world tomorrow and say, hey, I really want to get in your mastermind. I really want to be in this high level container with other women and access you and so on and so forth. You could join tomorrow. Like that. Again, it's always available. Same thing with my memberships, always available. So if you at 3 a.m. got a wild hair and were like, I want to do this thing, it's available. So they're base offers because they're always there. And because people can continuously flow into them, the revenue that each offer generates grows pretty much every month. There's of course some stagnancy here and there, depending, but I have a strategy that flows new people into these offers every month, which would be my bonus offers, which we'll get to. But the base offers are always going and they grow over time. Okay. Now the bonus offers, this is where I get to play because I've shared before, I'm a Manny Gen. I understand the value of knowing what to launch as a business owner and planning ahead and all of that. But also as a creative and a Manny Gen, I need to be able to play. If I can't make things up on the fly and have some flexibility, like what I just did with you in the beginning of the episode and said, I'm hosting a free masterclass this month and I don't know what it is yet. It's going to be incredible. If I wasn't able to do that, I'd lose my mind. My bonus offers are on the fly, short-term offers that I do for a certain period of time and then they're done. But once they're complete, you have the opportunity to upgrade into one of my base offers. Okay. For example, like I said, this week I just started 3 new offers at Money May, Members Only Experience, Accelerator Mastermind, and the 20K per month bootcamp. So the Accelerator Mastermind and the 20K per month bootcamp, these are high level containers, very close proximity. We're having extremely high level conversations and we are making big moves. One of these groups is 4 weeks. One of these groups is 6 weeks. We are going to get a lot done in this time frame. And some of these women, when they are complete, they're going to be complete and they're going to be good to go. Also, some of these women, they're going to get to the end of this group and they're going to want more. They're going to like being close proximity with me. We're going to have some momentum built together and they're going to want to continue in one of my base offers, whether that be the mastermind or one of the memberships with ongoing support, which is great, right? So that, and by the way, just to give you an example of what these bonus portals, these bonus offers look like each month. I usually do some sort of mini mind situation because I love them. This month I'm having to do two. I like doing some sort of low ticket something, which was Money May, and maybe some sort of masterclass, either free or paid. Every once in a while, I'll offer some intensives, some private things, depending on what my schedule is like and my energy levels. It just fully depends. But those will be, again, those are bonus. I make money on the front end of those. And then sometimes when people upgrade into the base, then on the back end too. So I just named off to you, I don't know, upwards of around 10 money portals that I've got going in my business. And that's not, by the way, those are live things. Those aren't even the evergreen things that I have. So that would be another money portal that I didn't mention, right? You have your live offers, things that you are actively offering and that's actively running. But then you have your evergreen offers. Things are in a funnel, things that somebody could also in the middle of the night or at any time during the day, go to your page, read a sales page and be like, oh my gosh, I need this. I need this masterclass. I need this program. I need whatever. And it's completely scaled. It's already made. It's fully evergreen. You're good to go. So I also have several of those. It's no surprise to me why my revenue stays at the level that it does and continues to grow over time, because when I have it set up that way to do that, but also because I know money flows to me always, in every way, but especially in my business, I've got a solid belief around this. I make money every single day. And that's also a belief of mine, whether it's $35 or $3,500, something's flowing. And I've set it up this way. So if you have a business where you are not satisfied with the amount of money flow happening, I would invite you to ask yourself, could we play with the creation of more money portals? Are we limiting ourselves to just a small percentage of our available audience, right? Are you only feeding the low ticket fish? Are you only feeding the high ticket fish? Are we leaving money on the table? Now, some people, they only want to work with a specific subset of their audience. They only want to work with people who pay high ticket, and that's perfect. Totally fine. By the way, you can have several money portals that are all high ticket or are all a certain price point, but they're just different types of offers that cover a different transformation or a different amount of time with you or proximity or whatever. We get to get really, really creative here. So I'm certainly not saying that if you don't want to have multi-level tiered price points, you don't have to. Or I'm not saying that you do have to, because you don't. But I love that. I love saying if you like the podcast, if you like the things that I teach and you need support, come to me. I have something for you. Okay. So that's one way to think of your money portals. Another way that I want you to think of your money portals, and this is where we're going to step into big girl business. And this has been a theme in my world, which is pricing. This is a really important conversation because the amount of times that I get asked, and I'm not mad about being asked this, by the way, because if you've asked me this at any point or recently, I'm certainly not calling you out because there are so many people who have. But it really tells me so much about where we're at regarding how we're thinking about our businesses and how we're being strategic about our businesses. When I get asked the question, what should I price this thing? What should my prices be? And I just did a reel on this and I did a story on this where I basically said, what did I say? I forget how I started it. But I essentially said, like, the best, number one, you shouldn't be asking people, like, I understand. Okay, pause. I understand why I'm getting asked this because I'm the coach and you can ask me anything. And we should not put our pricing in somebody else's hands. unless that person is going to do their due diligence, which I do, which asks follow-up questions, which is, tell me about your other offers. Tell me about your overhead. Tell me about the lifestyle you want to live. What's your money goals right now? These are the only way that somebody can give you appropriate pricing advice is by asking these other questions. Otherwise, they are totally doing you a disservice, and any number that they throw at you is arbitrary. Just because something is an average price across the board, just because most coaches or most med spas or most therapists or most, I don't give a frick what we're talking about, crochet artists charge this certain amount for this certain service does not mean that you have to, nor that you should. Okay. You are the differentiator here. So yes, I'm a dime a dozen when you think of me like a business coach, right? There are a billion business coaches out there, but they're not all me. So when it comes to my mastermind, my memberships, my offers, my calls, I don't look around to see what somebody else is charging for their thing. I did before, I actually told a story around this. I'll share it in just a second. But now I don't look around because it doesn't matter. Somebody else's numbers is none of my business. What somebody else can afford is none of my business. It is my responsibility as a business owner to set prices based on what is going to keep me not only in business, but also my most expansive self. Because if I am calm and I'm not stressed about my bills and I'm not stressed about where my next client is going to come from, and I'm feeling good and I'm able to attend the workout classes that I want to go to, and I'm well rested and I feel like my forehead looks good because I have fresh Botox, like the things that I want as a human. Okay. The better I feel, the more money I make and the more impact that I make. That is just a fact. And I would bet the same is true for you. When you are at your most expanded and elevated, you show up better. You're more magnetic. You're more clear. You're more on. Therefore, you are more able and qualified to offer a higher level of transformation, period. So I set my prices to, again, keep myself in business, to cover my overhead, to cover my taxes, to cover the lifestyle that is going to keep me at the most elevated. And that's what I put out into the world. Thus, I get to show up for my clients like a dream mentor, like I've experienced with my own dream mentors. When I worked with Melanie, she was always so calm and just chill and just sounded like she was constantly laying by a pool all day. I knew she wasn't. She works her butt off. But her nervous system, like running a business at that level comes with its drama, trust and believe. But she always made sure that when she showed up, she was at a level 10. And you can't do that if you're worried and concerned about money, or it's really, really hard to. You can't do it as well, and you can't do it for long. It's certainly not sustainable. So all of this to say, when you're setting your prices, when you're coming up with these different money portals, we need to know two numbers, two very, very important numbers. We need to know 3 numbers, okay? We need to know what your money goal is. What do you want to hit? And in order to appropriately know what that number is, you need to know what your overhead is and include your lifestyle goals in there too. What's required to not only pay your bills, but also to keep you running at the highest level. What is that number? Okay. And then whenever you can take those 2 numbers, your money goal minus your expenses. I don't know why there's balloons on the screen right now. That's so weird. It's doing that automatic emoji thing. I don't know how to turn that off. But when you have your money goal minus your expenses, then we multiply for taxes, and then you're left an amount. Okay. So money goal, let's say your money goal. And what was so fascinating about this is when we did the 10K Gateway Boot Camp, what I basically said, I was like, you think you're coming here to learn how to make 10K months. But fact of the matter is, I want you to make at least net 10K months. So really you're coming in here to learn essentially how to make probably most of you around 20K months, because everybody has different overhead. Therefore, everybody owes different levels of taxes. So you're only obviously going to net a certain percentage of that. So again, take your money goal. So let's say your goal is $20,000 minus your overhead times whatever that amount is. So goal minus overhead equals an amount. You're going to multiply that by whatever your tax bracket is. Okay. So, 0.3 or 0.35 or whatever your thing is. And that's going to leave an amount. And that's essentially your net. And then I want you to look at that number and I want you to decide, are you happy with that? And then multiply that number times 12. And that's going to be your net for the year. How does that make you feel? Is that enough? Is that sufficient? Does that feel good? Obviously, this is money left over, okay, after expenses and whatnot. So it should be overflow. And if it's not, then we need to either increase prices or we need to create more money portals, more ways for money to flow in. Very important. The story that I was alluding to, I do think it's probably a good idea to share here too, because I feel like a lot of people do this. I mean, I fell into this trap, but the story that I shared was in the very beginning of my business, when I was trying to come up with my own initial offers, I didn't know what to price my stuff. And so I say this from a place of, I fully understand where the confusion comes from. I was there too. And a lot of the times, all these numbers feel so arbitrary to us. It's like, do I charge $99 or $9,000? I don't know. So there's definitely, there's ways to think about this for sure. But I remember in the beginning of my business, when I was just getting started, I was looking around at other coaches in the space and other people that I looked up to. And I stumbled upon this chick and liked her a lot. I felt like I could relate to her. I could relate to how she was running her business, and she was a few steps ahead of me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a gander at her website and look at her services. And I was blown away by how low her services were from my perception. And the number, I had these potential numbers in my mind of what I was going to charge for things. And let's just say her pricing was, nearly half what I was thinking of charging. They were like so ridiculously low, in my opinion. And I was like, what on earth? So now I was second guessing myself, right? I was like, shoot, if she's this chick who's a few steps ahead of me, I clearly looked up to her. I'm like looking at her prices for an example of what I should charge. If she's only charging that, who am I to charge what I want to charge? And we've all done that before. And the amount of times I have heard this reflected to me, my own coach doesn't even charge that. Who am I? And we don't know her backstory, right? We don't know her overhead. We don't know what it takes to run her business. And this was proven with this one girl that I was looking at, because the longer that I followed her and the more that I learned about her story, it turns out that she had gotten this inheritance from a family member who had passed, very similar to me, except a much, much different level of inheritance. And she was a millionaire, essentially, right? And I don't know her banks and balances. I don't know what her life looks like. But from what she shared, she was essentially a millionaire. So that doesn't mean just because you're a millionaire, that doesn't mean that you should charge lower prices. As a matter of fact, usually it's opposite. Usually because your time is more valuable, you don't need to do the thing. So really, and if you think about it, the way she was pricing herself was actually kind of backwards, again, in my opinion. But she was pricing herself super, super low. But it also made sense to me because I was like, okay, she's doing that because she can. She's doing that because she's likely not using these offers to float her everyday lifestyle. Like maybe it's just like bonus cash for her. So she doesn't feel the need to charge a certain amount and she wants to be super quote unquote affordable, which what does that even mean? Depends who you ask. So anyway, this was such a valuable lesson to me because I was like, dude, I was seriously ready to plan. And I was essentially comparing my whole business model against somebody else's, not knowing anything that was happening behind the scenes in her business. So if I had continued to do that, I would have gone out of business because every dollar that flowed through my business, I needed at the time. That put food on the table. That paid all bills, right? So it's kind of insane to think that I was comparing myself, but it's so easy to do. So what I said in my stories the other day, and I'll say again here because it's so important, it doesn't matter what anybody else charges in terms of their business, whether we're talking about somebody you look up to, your coach, Tony Robbins, or Jesus Christ himself. If they're not paying your bills, it's none of your business. It is your job as the business owner, as the person who is facilitating the service, and as the person who is meant to stay in business so that you can continue to live your life and create the level of impact that you want. It is your responsibility to price things in a way that makes sense for your life and your lifestyle. Comprendo? Good. Okay, like I said, many different ways to do this with our types of businesses. This is why we are so lucky because we get to create as many offers or as little offers as we want. So the way that I really like to do this and the way that I feel like makes the most sense. It fully depends on your goals for sure. Because a lot of different ways to do this make sense, but it depends on what your goals are. But I love having this base bonus model where you have your tiered offer suite, something high level, something mid, something maybe a little bit lower. And then you have bonus offers that you launch each month or each quarter or whatever that feed into eventually the base offer. So those continue to grow so that you have a cushion of money and you're not starting from zero at the end of every month, which is exhausting and it's unsustainable. And then on top of that, over time, you get a good library of some evergreen offers that people can come in and buy whenever. Maybe you have some strategic funnels set up that you run ads to. This would be like another level of money portal that's running all the time. That's absolutely scalable. This is where we start hitting those super, 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 super high levels of cash. I feel like what most of us would consider high levels of cash, which is very unique to our industry, which is very cool. Okay. So I believe that about covers it for today's episode. I hope this was helpful for you. I don't know exactly what the masterclass is going to be, but it's going to be, of course, through the lens of money and creating money in your business. And we're going to be doing some coaching as well. So if you liked this and you would like some coaching around it and you want to go deeper, I encourage you to go to the show notes right now and see what I decided for that free masterclass because it's all there for you and you can sign up at any time. But for now, that's all that I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this. Please tag me in your stories. Leave us a 5-star review if you feel so inclined. That's so helpful. I cannot even tell you. But other than that, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you here next week. Bye.